Podcasting from Portland East to Portland West, from Big Pine Key to Pacific Beach, and from San Juan to Guam, this is All Across America. Santa John, thanks for having me by your home, and thanks for being on the show.
Well, I appreciate you coming by. You know, it's not too often that I get to be on a podcast at my southern North Pole home here, but, when I'm away working. But here we are.
All right. Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's a busy time of the year for you, I'm sure. Yes. How you feeling?
Feeling good. It's the season began really the beginning of November, so I'm 2 weeks in now.
Yeah,
and starting to hit my stride. Me and the elves, we're having fun.
Okay,
you know, going around visiting all kinds of people and young kids, and the kids get a kick out of it all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm coming up this next week. I'm hitting into 2-a-days.
Wow.
And then 3-a-days as we get close to after Thanksgiving. So,
okay.
You know, and the weekends are much busier.
I bet.
So.
And how long does the season run for?
Well, it typically goes from the beginning of November right through Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Right.
Several of us, myself, most importantly, I handle more and more Christmas and July parties.
Wow. Okay.
So June, July, August, I'll be doing that. I did that this year. Then we have photo shoots for portraits for Christmas cards. That goes from, anywhere from August through, I finished one earlier today, which is actually it's the last one that I'll do this year because the photographers need time to get everything processed and get the cards out. So that's kept me busy for, 2 months, 3 months. And now we're into the hardcore season.
Oh, yeah.
Home visits, store visits, big companies have parties, you name it. That's what I do.
Wow. So how many events would you say a year?
I've been pushing close to 80 every season now. I'm going to hit pretty close to that, 75 to 80 this year.
Wow.
Events. And I don't go out on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Good for you.
It's just I draw the line.
Yeah.
I used to, and I can do. The last time I was crazy, I did 9 visits on Christmas Eve day.
Wow.
Well, 10 if you include the one where I went to the wrong house.
I'm sure they were happy to see you nonetheless.
They were very happy to see me. But it's just, I said, I do have a family of elves that need attention.
Yeah.
So I don't do Christmas Eve day or Christmas Day.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'll have cancellations or reschedules because of illness or weather. And so I have gone as late as like middle of January for some events.
Really?
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
I've done Greek Orthodox and Russian Orthodox Easter.
Right.
Not Easter. Christmas ceremonies, which are, of course, a week off from the Christian calendar.
Right.
So, but I got to tell you, it's, I made the mistake of partying too much on New Year's Eve. And then the next morning I had to be at a house for a Greek Orthodox Christmas morning to them, it's Christmas morning. To us, it's New Year's morning.
Right.
It was a tough day.
Yeah.
But I learned my lessons.
Too much eggnog.
Yes. But so I've done that. But occasionally I've gone as far as maybe the middle of January.
Yeah.
Depending. But every year is different. You never know.
And tell me about this Christmas in July thing. I mean, I'm familiar.
Big families get together, maybe a couple every other year, every 3 or 5 years. Extended families, and they all come together and some either they'll rent a place or it'll be somebody's big home, and they'll have a part of that whole weekend. They'll have a time where they have people bring presents because they don't see each other normally during the Christmas season.
I see. Okay.
And they'll ask a Santa to show up. So I do.
Yeah.
And of course I don't wear my traditional garb in the middle of the summer.
At the Florida outfit.
Oh, no, I have a couple of Hawaiian shirts with dancing Santas on them.
I love it.
Shorts, my knee-high striped candy striped socks, candy cane socks, red slippers, and either red baseball cap that says ho 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 on it, or I'll wear my traditional this red cap with the fur.
All right.
I do several. I did several this year, and it's some are very simple, some are very elaborate.
Wow.
Some have event managers to them.
Wow.
Others are just kind of thrown together, but
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The kids, nobody questions why I'm there.
Yeah.
They all know they're going to get presents. Why are you here in the middle of summer? Why do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I was just flying by and I saw this big party. And so I landed on the lake over there and the elves got some canoes and here we are.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
I mean, that's got to be the greatest thing about being Santa. When people see you, I just imagine it's like smiles immediately on their face, no matter what's going on.
It is. I get a kick out of all the time.
Yeah.
Of course, I kind of help it along because even my civilian garb consists of, I'll wear shorts in the summer, but I'll always be wearing a red shirt.
Okay.
Or a green shirt with either red suspenders or the opposite, green suspenders. So that's kind of a walking billboard in advertising.
Right. So it sounds like you're never truly incognito.
No.
Okay.
No. And even if I am, they still recognize me. So, the sunglasses, I sometimes they'll say, "Are you sure you're Santa?" I said, "Oh, how did you guess?" I said, "Wait a minute. I've got to do a better job. It was the sunglasses, right? I got to get a better pair of sunglasses to hide, that type of thing." But,
so how did you get into it in the first place?
Kind of fell into it. I've always had a beard, and I turned white very early in life.
Really?
In my 30s.
Really?
Actually, in high school, I had a big streak of white hair in my beard, in my hair.
Wow.
And in college, I was always, I looked 10 years older than I was, and I could easily pass for a grad student when I was a freshman. And of course, I wore John Lennon wire rim glasses. I was a hippie back in the 70s. So, and longer hair, but it was white by the time I was 10 years out of college.
Wow.
I was in a supermarket here in town, as a matter of fact. This is the North Pole of the South. Anyway, and this woman chased me down an aisle, and she said, "You have to play Santa Claus." And I had been asked before, and I said, I don't want to do this. No, really, you look like you have to do this. The next aisle over, she's standing there waiting for me again. And as I walked away, and she hands me her card, she says she was an agent. She supplied magicians and clowns for parties and stuff. And I said, I don't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
No. We need Santa Clauses. And then she wrote on the back of the card how much I could make for, and I said, okay, now you got my attention a little bit. And my first gig, if you will, was actually here in town. And it was, turns out it was for friends of mine.
Oh.
Or friends we knew. And it was a Christmas in July party.
Yeah.
So my wife made my first costume, which was a simple robe, very quickly. And then I wore the shorts and the Hawaiian shirt underneath it. So it was when I got there and I introduced myself and everything. Then I took that off and people were like, "What are you doing?" And I realized, I said, "It's too hot for this. So, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for this is my 26th season.
Wow.
As Santa Claus. Yeah.
Any plans on stopping or slowing down?
No reason to.
Good for you. Yeah.
I'm in, like all the rest of, I'm in high demand.
Yeah.
I turn down, I can't, contrary to popular opinion, can't really be in more than 2 or 3 places at the same time.
So I hear, yeah.
So there's a lot of, I'm constantly recruiting others if I can.
Really?
Yeah.
So saying, look, I'm booked, but I got my friend Bob.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was how I started. And I worked with the agent for about a year, but then I would find people were calling me, word of mouth.
Right.
Spread. So we parted ways and I was out on my own. I've been on my own ever since.
Right.
I do business with several agencies for bigger work. All of them want me to work for them exclusively.
Of course.
But
yeah.
I'm like, no, I've got committed, established customers. I have customers that I've been doing since day one. So
wow.
yeah, but others, the kids grow up. So all of a sudden the parents say, well, our kids are in college now. We're not going to have a party this year. I say, okay, fine. Somebody else fills it in,
Right. Yeah. Somebody else, but young children coming up has the parties. Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about Christmas is it happens every year.
whether you want it to or not, but I want it to.
Yeah. I mean, you think of special event occasions like a wedding. Hopefully it's only happening once, but Christmas, the holidays, it's every year after year after year.
And, so that's, word of mouth. I do a little bit of advertising. And of course, the bigger companies advertise, for me. So, I have no lack of opportunities in work.
And so, is there training for Santa? Or do you learn on the go? Mentors?
There are Santa schools.
Really?
All kinds of various quality and degrees.
Okay.
You can go to. I have not felt I've needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go to Santa schools all over the country and learn. They teach you critical skills, how to handle, difficult customers, how to deal with special needs clients.
Oh, okay.
Which, I learned all that on the fly. But, how to deal with. Some teach sign language, signing, so that for deaf, others for, so there's all kinds of nuances. How to handle pets. You can go to school for all that. And some are better than others.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. And I know a lot of Santas who've gone to several schools and they think they've learned a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've never felt I've had the need to do that.
Yeah.
I've never run into a situation that I haven't been able to handle.
Right.
Come close.
Yeah.
Pets can be a little bit difficult at times.
I can imagine. I mean, do you have the dog sitting on Santa's lap? I mean, how does that work?
Nobody sits on anybody's lap any day at all. Some stores allow dogs or animals for their pictures, which is fine.
Okay.
And we'll hold the leash.
I see.
Most of the time, the customer holds the leash.
Okay.
Of the dog.
Yeah.
But they bring in some unusual animals every once in a while.
Okay.
One woman bought in a shopping cart, and she had 6 ferrets in there.
Oh, my goodness.
And she picked up 2 of them and wanted me to hold them.
Oh.
And a few times I just went, no.
No. Yeah, ferrets are definitely interesting creatures.
I wasn't there at the time, but prior to my being at one instance, I was told a woman walked in she had on a baby carrier that you would carry an infant in the front of you.
Right.
But it was double, and she had ducks in there. I didn't see it, so they said it was highly unusual. Yeah. They quacked like crazy, and they wouldn't let her take them out because, no, we don't need that.
Yeah.
So there's some unusual things.
Yeah, I bet. And so are children sit on your lap anymore? You're saying less so?
Not really.
Okay.
Home visits, fine,
Right.
But if you're in a commercial setting, no, you really don't. We, particularly since COVID.
Okay.
And that's occasional. We'll get infants, like babies. Like I've had week-old.
Wow.
Surprises me up to maybe 9-10 months.
Yeah.
And we'll hold them in our arms.
Right. Yeah.
But bigger kids, A, a lot of them don't want to sit on your lap, and B, no, it's just, I said, stand right here, and that type of thing. So it's the older woman, of course, always want to sit on your lap. So the simple trick there is you stand up.
Aha. Yes. Yeah. Your lap. Your lap disappears when you stand up.
Well, I don't have much of a lap anyway, but it saves my knees.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stand up. That's learned that one. That probably was taught at a Santa school, but I picked it up from another Santa.
Right. Yeah.
So you stand up and politely take the picture with the woman and whoever, her husband or boyfriend or whoever.
Right.
That type of thing. But having kids on your lap is just isn't that common.
Right.
At least in my experience.
And I can imagine, if you have, kids aren't that light, and a couple hundred, it could really do a number on your knee.
Yeah, it used to be. When I started, that was very common. But again, home visits, not a problem. The kids will grow up and they want to jump on your lap. Okay,
right.
Fine.
Yeah.
But in commercial settings, like stores, that type of thing, they discourage it. And I understand that.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
And, we have insurance, liability insurance, and background checks and all those things go
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mandatory to work for several companies.
Right.
So that has to be done every year. So
Wow.
there are some checks there.
Yeah.
But handling kids is usually it's, stand right here,
Right.
that type of thing.
I mean, did it help? I mean, I was talking to Sally beforehand. You have four children, so you're I shouldn't say a pro because nobody's a pro with children, but
Oh, I don't know. They think I'm nuts. They kind of look at me like, yeah, really? You're doing this? Well, I've been doing it for so long, but they were in their teens.
Okay.
And it was like, Dad, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, teenagers, no parent is cool
Right.
to a teen.
Right. But then it became something of a chick magnet for my kids in high school when they found out that one girl would say to one of my sons, "Hey, is your dad really Santa Claus?" Oh, strike up a conversation. They picked up on that very quickly. They turned that to their advantage. So, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
But they all have beards.
Okay.
All three of my boys. And and now, I take pictures of their friends' kids because my children are in their 40s and late 30s, mid 30s. So,
And did they have premature white hair like you did?
Not as bad as not as good as me. They, they hate to admit it. They are getting gray and white. They all have a full head of hair thanks to the genes of my side of the family. My father was pure white when he came back from World War II. And all his relatives, I've never seen him in any pictures unless he had white hair.
Wow.
And they just assumed it was because of the war.
Yeah.
And he spent 5.5 years. Anyway, but no, he was turning white before he even went in the service in the late 30s.
Wow.
We found out. So it's genetic. But when he passed away at 80, he had a big, full head of hair.
Wow.
So there's no baldness.
All right.
Which the kids, they thank me now. They thank me now. But one of them may become a Santa Claus. We'll see.
Oh, okay. All right.
I won't tell them which one in case they listen. But it'll be a long way away. But they put up with it. So my grandchildren kind of look at me and like they figured it out. Yeah, my granddad is Santa Claus. Cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
We were at a restaurant once, and with my granddaughter, who at the time she's 11 now. She was probably 9, 8, and very common people would come up all year round, and they would, this one woman came up with her son and introduced themselves and excused, sorry to bother you, but my son wants you to give you his Christmas list. It's the middle. It's like, I don't know, it was April or something, And my granddaughter's sitting there on the other side of the table taking a little sin. And I'm, oh, thank you very much. This is very nice. I'll tuck it away and I'll keep it on. Thank you. And he walked away. And my granddaughter looked at me and she says, she called me Pop. They called me Pop. And she says, Pop, if you shaved off your beard, nobody would be confused about this. She got back a look that would cut ice. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, why are you doing this?
When's the last time you shaved your beard?
Well, right out of high school.
Wow.
Just as my 18th birthday. Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. So 50 some odd years ago.
Wow. And do you grow it out, especially for the holiday season? Or
yeah, it'll keep growing now. I haven't had it trimmed in a month easily. More than that. I won't do much anything to it until my hairdresser will be mad at me in January. She always is.
Yeah.
Get my hair done and my hair cleaned up. But got to go to a hairdresser. Barbers are, at least I haven't found a good barber who would touch this.
Really?
My wife's hairdressers, I've kind of latched onto one of them that does a good job.
Yeah.
So that's the route you go.
Wow. And so you keep it a little tighter in the summertime?
Not much.
But
a little bit, not too much.
And any secrets to maintaining a beard oil?
For me?
Yeah.
No, I don't do anything. I'm just, I joke with people. They say, what do you do? I say, well, I drink good Scotch whiskey because they want to know how I keep it so white and all that. But I was at a gathering of Santa Clauses, and we were in a big circle, and we were talking about most Santas have to dye their beard white.
Really?
They're not fully white.
Yeah.
Or their hair too, and that's a issue. It's expensive, and they all looking for the best technique, what works, and so we did a little of a round table type of thing. And there were about 10 of us, and they started, and I listening to all their stories. Some have changed, They all use hairdressers. A few of them were brave enough to try it themselves. Some have found that they can use clown makeup. Seems a little. Others use all kinds of different things that they can to whiten their beards. There's beard whiteners, and there's the professional jobs.
Sure.
And they all have to be redone several times during the season.
Right.
Because your hair does grow, and so you get the reverse of showing, the...
Right.
So I sat back, and I said, they looked at me, and of course, here I am with white hair and white beard. And I said, boy, I feel sorry for you guys. I guess I'm the freak of nature here. I've never had to touch my beard or dye it. And then I paused, and I said, and I never had to dye it white. And a couple of the Santas picked up on that. I says, well, what do you mean by that? Did you dye it any other color? And I says, well, yes. One time I was in my late 30s, early 40s, about 40, and I was just searching around for another job. I had a job, but I was, you're always looking. And I went to a series of interviews, and people quickly, I realized they thought I was much older than I was.
Oh.
And I went to an interview, and one gentleman looked at me, and this was, let me see, this would have been about 1990, okay? 92, because I was just 40 years old. That's right. And he looked at me, and he said, so, did you serve in the war? And I looked at him, and for my generation, I assumed he was talking about the Vietnam War, because that would have, I said, no, I didn't have to, I didn't serve in the Vietnam War. And he looked at me and goes, no. He says, the Korean War. I looked at him. That's about the time I was born, but I didn't want to explain that to him.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized this is going nowhere. So I went home, and I thought about it, and I said, well, I got to do something here. I'm never going to have an opportunity. So I went out, and I bought the stuff, and I dyed everything brown.
Wow.
Like it was when I was in high school. Excuse me. And the irony of it is, I went to an interview 2 weeks later. One interview. Okay. All brown. Everybody, was nice. The next day they offered me the job.
Wow.
So I took the job, and I said, well, I got to keep my beard brown, I guess, but it's expensive. I have to buy a barrel of 55-gallon drum of this stuff.
Right.
Do it as often and it's not really all that good for you. So
no.
I was there about 6 months, and I decided I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah. And
my boss had gone on an extended travel trip for the company. He was gone for 2 months, and he was taking a couple of weeks off. So he was gone about three months. And he came back, and I had started letting my hair grow all natural again about the time he left. So he walked back in the day, and he walked by my office, and he glanced at me, he said hi, and I said hi. And then he backed up, and he looked at me again. And I was all white. And he looked at me, he says, what the heck happened to you?
Yeah, aged 10 years. And
he's looking at the badge on my, that I had, and it's all brown. He's looking at my hair. It's all white. He says, no. He says, you get down to personnel and get another picture taken.
Yeah.
You can't walk around.
No, right.
That was funny. But and everybody in the Santa Claus group looked at me and said, you're kidding. You dyed your hair brown. Yeah, but it didn't last that long.
Yeah.
But so that was the only thing I ever had. I've never had to do anything. I've never had to really do anything.
That's great.
They're all looking at me like, you really suck. So, as much as a Santa Claus is going to tell another Santa Claus.
Jealousy among Santas. So what was the occasion that you all were getting together?
It was a business, at the time we were gathering as an orientation session. I work on the North Pole Express. So that we were all the Santas. That one was a meeting to introduce ourselves for that season. I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag. Just ignore the fact that, there really is only one Santa.
Only one. You're right.
There's many. So that was the occasion. But it was interesting because I've gone to a couple of luncheons like after the season, and there's nothing crazier than a bunch of Santas getting together. It's like putting a bunch of clowns together.
Blowing off steam.
Yes. So every January we have a big meeting.
Oh, that's great.
And, I belong to the Connecticut Society of Santas.
Wow.
I belong to the New England Society of Santas.
Wow.
And they're occasionally they'll refer jobs to me, or they'll be looking for somebody who can help out another Santa who's ill, that type of stuff.
Right.
And they have luncheons, and I don't go too often, but
yeah,
I'll give a plug to those guys.
That's great.
So
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I belong to the International Brotherhood of Real Bearded Santas.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the worldwide organization.
I see. Okay.
Oh yeah, and the same thing. To get
Right.
some advertising in. And
Yeah.
people find if they're looking for Santas, that's one of many ways they might find me.
And so, do y'all share war stories? The toughest customer
Yep.
of the season.
Yes. Strangest customer, that type of thing. Most difficult customer, the weirdest thing that ever happened. The time that one of my compatriots got glitter bombed when he was on stage.
Oh no.
Glitter is probably the worst thing that can happen to a Santa.
Yeah.
Because glitter it's like kryptonite. It never goes away.
Yeah.
He was madder than a wet hen. He had glitter on it doesn't come out.
No.
No matter what you want to do.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Worst of that, not coming out of your suit. It stays in your beard for ages.
Oh.
And you're walking around. People that, 2 months later, is that glitter?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to have to answer that.
It's like the equivalent of being tarred and feathered for a Santa.
Somebody pranked him. There was and he was on duty, and they set off a glitter bomb, basically, like a balloon with. Oh, he was not happy.
Oh.
They had to clean the set. It was a mess.
Oh, that's not fair. It's a little bit more than a prank. That's
that type of
a little
thing.
mean-spirited.
Or the difficult customers, or you mishear what a kid wants.
Oh.
That can be a riot sometimes. What do you mean you want a Ferrari? No, he didn't say Ferrari. He said he wanted a furry cat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that could do, yeah.
Well, sometimes there's a lot of noise.
Yeah, I bet.
Or the little boy who asked me, 8 years old, most unusual so far. He wanted a set of bagpipes.
Really?
I
Wow.
looked at him. The kid was about, not much more than 4 feet tall. And
Right.
I said, the pipes are bigger than you.
Yeah.
Oh, they make smaller. You can get a smaller set for me, Santa. The elves will do it. I said, yeah, well, the elves will do anything I tell them to do. But I was a little taken aback by that. Another one wanted a pipe organ.
Wow.
With the church to go with it.
With the church to
Because
go
I said, big, good pipe organs are in churches. He goes, oh, yeah, I'll take the church too. So kids can be inventive. But you have to be on your toes. You have to know every year what things are.
I see. Okay.
You have to know what the latest toys are.
Right. The fads.
What's in, what's not in.
Right.
All the different, if they want Paw Patrol stuff, you got to know. I come back with, well, which character do you want? Do you want,
you got to ask the follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah. So, you have to know from year to year what the best questions are, what the best toys are. All the movies, Frozen, the characters, you have to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Paw Patrol, Rubble is I like Rubble. He's the bulldog. The kids will look at you like, oh, yeah, you do know this.
Wow. Okay. So they're impressed. You've done your homework.
Or Bluey, the latest cartoon shows.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. So I kind of keep an eye on all those things.
Yeah.
I've often would go through the Lego catalogs, and look up what the latest stuff is, the technique toys and the different grades of toys and the more difficult ones. What are they? What's the hottest ones?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to know that stuff. The dolls, American Girl dolls.
Okay.
Which are top of the line, and I say, well, do you want twins? Or do you want, and of course the parents will roll their eyes because those dolls they'll retail for $200.
Right.
And do you want the the full clothing line with them, the summer or when, that type of thing.
Sometimes the parents like elbow you like Santa.
Like,
Can you?
cut it. But so you have to know, you have to kind of keep up on all the different choices. This year, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's a little early. Well, it's not early, but they're coming up with the same old, not the same old, but the standard stuff.
Yeah.
They want trucks.
Yeah.
Big trucks to make noise, garbage trucks for little kids.
Yeah.
Tots. They want, girls want, they still want LOL dolls, which are little doll. And this whole class line. American Girl dolls are good.
Yeah.
And of course, PlayStations, PS5s, Switches.
Of course.
All of that stuff,
you got to know all that. Yeah.
And I usually discourage it. I'm old school.
Yeah.
But some want some pretty nasty video games that are out there. And I say no.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
I say, no, you're not going to get that this year.
Wow.
Why not? I'm out of stock. Or, yeah, that one, I think I got to go back and check, but I think the elves discontinued it.
Oh, wow.
Some are pretty violent.
Yeah, sure.
I'm pretty old school with all of that.
Yeah, particularly when you get young children.
So there's a whole series of things like that. Minecraft is still very popular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I wouldn't let my kids get video games when they were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they hated me at the time, but they've thanked me ever since.
Yeah.
So that's just my personal touch. Other Santas, give them whatever they want. Well, nah, not really. So the toys are, the trending toys. G.I. Joes they're still there in the background.
Okay.
Not as popular. Barbie is still stupendously popular.
That's amazing.
It's come back with the advent of the movie 5 years ago.
Right. Yes.
And Ken has risen from his grave, I guess, or whatever.
Okay.
He's popular. Barbie doll houses were huge last year. I've gotten a few requests for those this year.
Right.
So we'll just have to see how it goes as the season progresses.
And do you find that most kids have like one or two things that they want? Or are they bringing lists, notebooks?
It varies. Most kids only have like one or two or three things.
Right.
But some kids, you're right. I had one kid yesterday show up and he had cut and pasted out of catalogs and stuff the pictures of everything he wanted. And he put it on, Scotch taped the pages together. It was 6 pages wide. Both sides. I just looked at it all and I said, well, we're going to have to narrow this down a lot.
Yeah.
And, but I want it all. No, it doesn't. No,
yeah.
No, you're not. How good have you been? You can't possibly be that good, which is another thing.
Yes.
Bring that up.
Oh, a good one. I like that.
You never promise anything.
Yeah.
You always say, oh, that's nice. I said, well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Very non-committal. Or, oh, you remember now, no promises, and you have to be good.
Yeah.
And, we get into the whole thing about being good.
Yeah.
So that's in there.
Yeah.
So particularly the littler kids, the high school kids, the tweeners, they kind of roll their eyes and say, yeah. No. Listen up. I'm a little tougher with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're kind of making it, I'd imagine, a little bit in jest.
And I'll stop them dead when I say, well, I'm sure you've heard, 7th, 8th, 9th graders, I'm sure you have to have heard, unless you're tone deaf. You've had conversations with your classmates that tell you that you're crazy. Santa doesn't exist. And I said, admit it. And they go, yeah. I said, so to that, why are you talking to me? And that gets their attention.
Yeah.
And oh, well, I said, do I look like Santa? Yeah. I check my beard? Yeah, and they do. And I say, so let me make it clear what happens. The risk that you take if you decide you don't believe in Santa 1 year. You know what happens at Christmas Day? You know what happens to you? What? I get coal. No, we don't give out coal. It's too expensive. I said, we used to try coal dust, but the parents got really mad because that's really messy.
Yeah, sure
So we went down to the tried and true method. What's that? Well, you don't get trains. You don't get toys. You don't get anything like that. Matter of fact, if you get anything at all, it's going to be white underwear. Yeah. And one time, true story, like, I don't know, junior or senior in high school, big brother standing there. He broke out laughing. He says, "That's true." He says, "3 years ago, I got nothing but white underwear for Christmas." I said, "Aha." He knew. I couldn't have said it better.
That's funny.
So, that sets him back. And the girls were like, "Ew." So that's I kind of bust the teenagers a little.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to. Yeah, they need it.
But they want phones.
Sure. Yeah.
And they want clothes, and they want money. No, I don't give out money.
That's right.
How about gift cards? Maybe. Well, they try everything. Yeah, maybe.
They're negotiators.
I always have a direct line of sight to the parents.
Yeah.
Get their reaction.
Right. Yeah.
So, but animals, puppies, no, out of the question. Solve that problem and most parents are like,
yeah,
no, they don't want that.
Yeah.
And the simple answer is, I can't transport any animals in the sleigh. It's way too cold up there in outer space.
Right. I like that. That's it.
Survive.
Yes.
And they're like, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So one of the answers I give them is, there is a solution to this. And of course, now the parents are looking at me like they're ready to kill me. I say, you got to wait till the spring. But if you call the Easter Bunny, see, he's a bunny. He's an animal. He might. I can't guarantee it. He's not too happy with me because we play poker every Thursday night, and I beat him last week. But if you want me to, I will say something to him next time we meet. But you have to write him a letter yourself.
Okay.
Like you write me.
Yeah.
Oh. And they ask, where do I write to? I said, EasterBunny.com. I just made it up. I don't know if it's true or not. But, great. Thank you, Santa.
Yeah.
And like, Mom, we're going to have to do that in the spring. Yeah, okay, fine. That.
Yeah.
So that avoids,
So you punt it to the Easter Bunny.
Yep. Chickens, dogs, cats, snakes, iguanas. I had one yesterday for a lizard. Kids want all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So those are the stock answers you try and give.
Right. But you do have to be on your toes. I mean, it sounds like, how many children in a given session would you see?
If I'm like in a commercial setting and I'm on stage for 6 hours.
Wow, 6 hours.
Yeah, usually 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Busy time, like a weekend or as you get closer, over 100.
Yeah.
Easily over 100.
Yeah.
And you have to keep on your toes, and they want to, usually someone will come and say, so tell me what I got for Christmas last year. They'll ask me. I said, why? Didn't you like it? I liked it a lot. Well, good. Let's think of something better for this year.
Yeah.
And get them off the side.
Right.
They'll flat out say, no, you have to tell me. I just, no, let me tell you, I don't keep track of that. That's why I have all these elves.
Yeah.
Who keep track of all these
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, do I really need to call up Spork up at the North Pole and ask him? No, I'm not going to waste my time with that.
Right.
Let's move on. I tell them, no, I don't know. What's my name? If they come right, you're supposed to know everything. Well, no, I don't. That's again, I have lists, and I don't write the list. The elves actually write the list. It's all there.
They got the
Throw
elves.
it at the elves.
Yes.
The elves are the ones who keep the list. I just drive the sleigh.
Yeah.
One kid looked at me and said, well, what exactly do you do? And I said, well, I drive the sleigh.
So how do you stay so jolly through a 6-hour engagement? I mean, Santa's not allowed to be upset.
No, you can't. No, that's true. Oh, I just get a lot of fun. There's nothing better than looking at a kid come up to you and all excited about, it's Santa. I get to talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they end up going away usually smiling.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's what keeps you going. What keep me going
I'm playing a little bit of a word prank with a teenager.
Right.
And they know it.
Yeah.
And the parents are laughing. So, that's the whole idea.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not
have
out
a little fun.
to kill anybody. I'm just
sure.
kind of, but you have to kind of pull back the reins on kids who have way too high expectations of what Christmas is.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I give a lecture about the true meaning of Christmas is giving.
Yeah.
Don't forget that, kids.
Yeah.
It's not always, because I'll ask kids, I'll say, what are you doing for your parents for Christmas? Or what are you doing for your brother and sister for Christmas?
Yeah.
I'll jump right in with that. And that kind of throws them.
Yeah.
Or, what are you getting your mom for Christmas? Oh, it'll be
Oh.
6-year-old.
Yeah.
I said, well,
That's good.
start with a card.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Take a piece of paper, fold it over, and put on the inside, Merry Christmas, love, Darren or whatever, and fold it again and put your mom's name on the outside.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Use a crayon, have your brother or sister, your dad help you and do the same. That's as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend any money, but the idea is to drill across that the idea is that Christmas is for giving.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing, what all Santas do, is we are leading by example, that we give, because sometimes kids will ask, well, what do you want for Christmas? Or what are you going to get for Christmas? I said, I'm going to get a big dinner and a lot of cookies, but I go into a little bit of, it's not about it's about follow my example.
Yes.
What you give much more than what you're going to receive.
Right.
Where that's the joy of Christmas.
Yes.
And in some like if I'll do a parochial school setting, I'll make it a little more religious.
Right. Okay.
Or church groups. I'll do several of those. And so, I'll go into a little bit of sermon.
Right.
I'll do a story time, and I'll kind of bring it around to a point where, remember, it's not what you want for Christmas. That's not the point at all. It's what you give.
Yeah.
And we are, as Santas try to lead by example, because we are giving.
Yeah.
And that's the whole spirit of Christmas.
Yeah. A lot of people, particularly young children, they forget that. It's all about what they're going to get, and
never occurred to them. But, so I put it out there.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a lecture, but that's, and people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Parents appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I do.
So my oldest is 8, and I feel like this might be the last Christmas where he's a true believer. What do you say to, children that are, honestly questioning, that are of that age, that are not quite sure? Like, what do you say when that question gets asked?
Well, I had that with my kids.
Yeah.
And others have had the same. And I thought about it when one of my kids said something when they were, maybe they were 10, but I said, you really want to know the answer to that? I said, you ready for the responsibility of knowing the answer to that question? And they'll say, okay. I said, it's serious. You're undertaking a great responsibility when I explain things to you.
Yeah.
Oh, and what I tell them is that once I get through that and they say, okay, that, it's really not about, it goes back to, what we do is leading by example and giving. It's the example of, yes, there really is not a Santa Claus. All right. But it's up to you now to carry forward the tradition of what Santa stands for and what Christmas is all about.
Yeah.
And, and make sure when somebody asks you as you get older, is there a Santa, that you give them a serious answer, such as I'm giving you.
Yeah.
That, but, everybody can be a Santa.
Yeah.
And they pretty much get it.
Yeah.
8 might be it depends. Every kid's different.
Yeah.
I ran into it when I was about 10. Yeah. When they get into 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th, right in that area.
Yeah. My son is still believer. I hope he's a believer for.
And then I say, remember what happens. I tell you, if you don't believe, you know what you're going to get, right? And that really, stops them dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
And I tell the teenagers, so if you're expecting to see a phone under the tree, you better believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you really care who it comes from, really.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of.
Right.
Yes, you do care, but, it may not be from Santa, the Santa that you think of. It's coming from the parents. I don't tell them that, but I kind of drill it home.
Yeah.
So that's how you get through that.
Yeah. What do you do if you get like a really hard question where a child is like, all I want for Christmas is for my daddy to come home, or world peace, or something like that?
Those are tough ones.
Yeah.
World peace isn't as tough as it sounds. It's world peace is always something that people want to strive for, but questions like, all I want is for my dad to get a job.
Yeah.
or I want him to come home. Yeah, I've had a few of those questions.
Yeah.
And I fall back on what are the other support? Well, do you have any brothers? Do you have any sisters?
Yeah.
Are your grandparents around to help out?
Sure.
That type, and
Yeah.
bring it into a larger discussion of that group.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So you're not really directly answering a question because there is no good answer,
No.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
But you're trying to give them a feeling that they're not alone.
Yeah.
That there are others who can help them and
Yeah.
get through the period of time when one of the parents is going, or worse if kid says, yeah, I want my father back, or I want my mother back, they died last year, that
Oh, yeah.
same idea.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's always tough.
Yeah.
But you try and bring it in a positive light.
Yep. Yeah.
So there's those are probably the toughest questions to try and get through.
Sure. Yeah.
But you have to do it seriously and straightforward.
Yeah.
You can't BS them on anything.
Yeah.
Because
know.
even a young kid would know that.
Yeah. They'll
You have
know.
to be serious with them and explain to them. Yeah, it's hard. I don't have a really good answer, but you can either rely on relatives or friends or whoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get you through that.
That's tough. Yeah.
That's what it is. So, what else do you want to know?
These kids crying. That's
All the time.
Yeah. How do you comfort them? And
Sometimes you don't.
right.
Some kids are just, and every year it's different. Well, I'll see one kid when he's a year old and he's happy-go-lucky and he's giggling and he loves me and wants to, pull a little bit of my beard and the whole thing.
Yeah.
The same kid comes back at 2 and it's like I'm a monster. He just sees me and screams.
Really?
Nonstop, won't come near
Wow.
me, totally inconsolable.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to be there, lies on the floor and pounds his hands on it. I've had that. The same kid.
Huh.
Next year he'll come back at 3. Hi, Santa. So I don't push it.
Yeah.
Particularly in photo sessions.
Yes. Photos are
people
tough.
feel, well, they paid a certain amount of money, they're going to get a photo. And so I'll do. Every photographer, they call the shots in these situations because that's who really you're working for. And some photographers would say, just put him on his lap. Let's get a photo. If it's crying, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm not so thrilled with that. But what I say, okay, let's do the 5-second routine. In other words, tell the photographer, get ready because you got less than 5 seconds to get the shot before this kid's going to go off like a fire alarm.
Yeah.
And usually they get a good shot because he's quiet for all that 5 seconds. Then he looks up at me and bam, and then he starts, so I say, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
You don't want to prolong a kid's fear.
Yeah.
So I kind of, and some kids, they don't even want to come close and the parents are frustrated. I said, there'll be next time.
Yeah. It'll be next year.
Yeah.
That's right.
I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be over at some place like a week later, stop by there.
Oh, there you go. That's smart.
He may be different.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just they woke up on the wrong side of the crib,
Right. I mean,
and
it's
they're
every
cranky.
kid. Yeah.
But I don't push.
Yeah.
Crying kids are just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to accept Santa.
Yeah. Well, having kids know crying is a fact of life. Having kids, whether you're saying or not.
They're going to go crazy and cry because Santa's there and go nuts. But I'm not going to prolong the agony of it. I'll just say, sometimes I'll say I can calm them down. If in certain sessions I have the ability, we can be with the kids for like a half hour or so.
Yeah.
A larger setting, there might be 3 kids who really don't want to see me and screaming and having
okay.
But then I'll go over and I'll say, well, look, you want to see these bells? These are jingle bells.
Yeah.
I'll look at my gloves. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. And, you take a shot. And if it works, great. You're a hero.
Right.
They calm down enough so you can get the picture or you can talk to them and the parents are happy. Other times it's like, no, okay, I'm not going to push this.
Yeah.
So other Santas they insist they got to get a picture. Not me.
Yeah.
There'll be other occasions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So crying kids are just a fact of life.
Yeah.
That's how I deal with it.
So you said you do almost 80 different gigs a year. Well, is there one that's a favorite of yours?
A favorite? Not particularly. They're all good. I mean, I wouldn't be doing them.
Yeah.
Working on the train is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
It's different because you're on stage. If I'm in a commercial setting like a store, you're on stage and you're in character for the entire 6 hours,
Yeah.
nonstop. You're on character before you get there and after you leave. And, and that can be a grind. You get
Yeah.
a couple of breaks, but
Yeah.
still, you're still got to walk through a crowd of people or walk. So
Right.
no matter what you're in character. On the train, the first year I found it a little different. You go through a train car and you have X amount of time to get through the car, and they time you
Yeah.
because the trains have to run on time and all that. And so you're on stage. The minute you walk through to that car, bam, you're on stage. You get out of that car and say you're done. So you get off the train, you do 4 or 5, you get off the train and and now the train has to deliver the passengers back to the main station, pick up new passengers and come back up for the second. So you have an hour. So you're sitting waiting.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, you're not to me, I'm not working either, although I'm on the clock, I'm there.
Sure.
So that's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little tougher to all of a sudden you got to turn yourself on and turn yourself off.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're not going to stay on stage with all the other Santas and Mrs. Clauses in the room. They know better.
Yeah.
They're going to look
Right.
at you like you're nuts. But home visits, same way.
Yeah.
You're on.
Yeah.
So I like doing all of that. The easier question for me to answer is what's the tougher ones to do?
Yeah. What are they?
Nursing homes.
Okay.
You learn really quickly. Don't ask the question, how are you?
Oh, right.
I mean, if they were okay, they wouldn't be there.
Sure.
And some they're either in memory care, they call it,
Right.
or they're candidates for it because a lot of places now have, independent living. Then they have grades.
Yes. Yes.
So they'll bring
Assisted.
who are
Yeah.
candidates for memory care, and you can tell
Right.
they're still with it, but you can see they ask the same question 15 minutes later type of thing.
Right.
So those are the most difficult ones, or
Yeah.
nursing homes where I'll do room visits
Okay. Yeah.
into the rooms of long-term
Right.
hospice patients.
Yeah. That's tough.
Those are tough.
Yeah.
The toughest one I ever did was when I went to a children's hospital.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I did that actually, I wasn't even, I think about this. I did it after I became a Santa, but the first time I ever did that, I was in college and I was a music organization and we went and we were playing Christmas carols and it was the old Newington Children's Hospital way back. It was 50 plus years ago. And so I went as part of the group and that was a wake up call and a sobering experience
Yeah.
to see all these sick kids,
Yeah.
and yeah, we made them happy, but they weren't going to get out of there, and that was the toughest. Those are the toughest visits.
Yeah.
To do nursing homes or children's, like the children's wards of the hospital, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I have been asked occasionally on one-on-one. So, a couple times here in town that's happened. Family will call up and their son is terminally ill. Could I make a visit?
Yeah.
That type of thing. It's more of a private visit.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult.
Yeah.
And, you don't say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the toughest
Yeah.
to do. But other than that, the rest, and I'll do them.
Yeah.
You have to.
But for the kids, I can imagine that's been
They're
that's
happy.
probably the best day of their,
Yeah, they're happy. It cheers them up.
Yeah.
But so everything else, there's not much. I won't do adult parties. Too dangerous.
Really?
Oh,
Just debauchery and
yes.
yeah.
They're just, I'm not a prude.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I don't put up with bad language.
Right.
I don't overdrink,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drink, but not, so, and these adult parties, people just lose their inhibitions
Right.
on a lot of things.
Right.
I've been groped. I've been, and one time the other thing I won't do anymore is people say to me, I'd like for you to show up at a restaurant with a ring. I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. And I did it twice, and it worked out because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what if she says no?
Right.
Now what do you do?
Yeah.
So anyway, I stopped doing that. But
so you were 2 for 2, though.
The last time I did that, I was in Waterbury at a restaurant, and it was all set up, and it worked out fine.
Yeah.
But the owner of the restaurant said to me, it was a Christmas season, and he said, have you got any more time tonight? I says, yeah, I do. It was 8 o'clock at night. You know?
Right.
He said, well, we're running a big Christmas party in their banquet room next door, right next. He said, we didn't get a Santa Claus, but you'd be great. And I didn't think too much of it. And I said, sure. Well, there were a couple of kids there, but there was an adult party, basically.
Right.
Right as they pulled me into it, and he announced, Santa Claus is here. I went, oh, no. Oh, no. And I went around. You take pictures with everybody. You mingle with them.
Right.
You have fun. And, that's where, unfortunately, you get groped by some woman who's had too much to drink.
Right. Yeah.
What really got me not upset, but not happy was, you wear white gloves.
Yeah.
And I'm talking with a couple over here, and this one woman who had been following me, and she proposed to me, and I said, no, my Mrs. Claus would not be happy. And so I'm talking to her, and she grabbed my hand, and she said, let me see your hand. And she wrote on the palm of the glove in like a Sharpie. I wasn't paying attention because I was talking this way.
Right.
She wrote her phone number there. And she says, call me. I'll be home in 2 hours. And I looked at her and said, oh, no. So now I ruined the glove.
Oh, you ruined the
glove. Now I got a phone number. How am I going to explain this to anybody? Right? That type of thing goes on. And, you just don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I avoid those if I realize what they are.
Yeah.
And that was when I mentioned very early on the Christmas Eve I did 9 events in one day. And at the end of it, I had one more to go. And I told you it was 10 because I went to a wrong house.
Right. Well,
what happened was we pulled into a cul-de-sac. And I had a Mrs. Claus with me, not my wife. My wife is very good, but she doesn't want to do Mrs. Claus.
Fair enough.
But half the Santas, that's the story. Their wives don't want to do it, or the other half says their wives, they do it. So, but that's not the point. The point is I had a Mrs. Claus, which is a good friend of ours, and we're driving up the street, and she has the phone thing, and I see it's a cul-de-sac. And I look down it, and I see all these lights at the very end of the cul-de-sac, and there's reindeer on the lawn, lit up and all that. There's people standing around up there. That's the house. I go right up the street, park right at the end of the cul-de-sac. We get out, we walk around and go up the steps. And it's a raised ranch. And at that point, I should have known better because it didn't dawn on me until I got up the steps. And on the raised ranch, you go up or down. So they said, the party's downstairs. Well, they were having a ugly, not a sweater, ugly suit contest.
Oh.
And there's all these people on the front lawn drinking beer and all that.
Yeah.
And then it finally occurred to me as I started going down the steps, and Mrs. Claus was a little faster on the uptake. She's pulling me by the collar saying, Santa, Santa, but I ignored her till I got halfway down the steps, and I realized there's no children. And then there's this guy comes around, and he's standing at the bottom of the steps, obviously drunk. He goes, Santa, glad to see you. Come on down. Join the party. I'm the owner here. I said, my name's Jim. I said, hi, Jim. I said, now everything hit at once. Oh, darn.
No.
This is not the right house. That was the big part. And there's no kids here because I was supposed to go to a kid's party.
Right.
And now I'm stuck. So I said, Jim, let's gather everybody around. Let's get some pictures. I did some fast talking.
Right.
Mrs. Claus is throwing daggers at me, and gathering around, got all these pictures. Everybody's happy and jovial. And in 5 minutes, and I said, okay, got to fly, everybody. We got to leave. And so as I'm going out the door, Jim is coming up behind me. He says, if I didn't know better, I would swear you're the original Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So I really appreciate your coming. He's slurring his words.
Yeah.
I said, great, Jim. Thanks a lot. By the way, do you know where the Wilsons live? Or who are... Yeah, they're the first house at the end of the street. You drove right past it. Thanks, Jim. Mrs. Claus says, don't ever do that again.
Well, it sounds like you made a bad situation turn out the right way.
The party I got to, they were happy that I showed up. They didn't care.
Yeah.
I was 10 minutes late.
Yeah, well.
And all these kids are going crazy. But that was that's the type of party, adult parties. No,
Yeah,
I
try to
won't do
avoid.
them.
Yeah.
There's just too much risk in terms of you never know what the people are going to say, and you don't want to be in those situations.
No.
You're Santa Claus.
You're Santa Claus. Yeah, you got to maintain a
There's
little
a
bit
certain
of
level of
yes,
propriety.
yes,
That has a very high level of
yes,
propriety. That has to be
absolutely.
there. So, but I can tell a good bawdy joke with the rest of them, but not as Santa Claus.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Favorite Christmas tradition?
Christmas traditions. Oh, putting up the tree.
Yeah,
watching watching some good Hallmark movies. There's not
yeah.
too many. Watching the new release of the latest Christmas movie, like Red One came out last year.
Okay.
That was actually, and all the Santa Claus movies, Santa Claus 1, Santa Claus 2,
Mhm.
Tim Allen, those were very good.
So those are some of your favorite Christmas movies, the Tim
I've
Allen?
seen every Christmas movie out
I'd
there.
imagine, yeah.
There's I think there's 4 Miracle on 34th Streets. There's all the Home Alone series, all that
Yes,
stuff
yeah,
on Christmas themes. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas,
yeah.
But Red One was very interesting last year because they actually depicted the very novel way at how Santa does his deliveries, which of course being an advisor to the film, I pointed out to him how it really is done. If you've seen the movie, you would know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to leave it at that.
All right.
You got to see the movie.
I will.
Watch closely how
Red
they deliver,
One.
how they do the Christmas deliveries. What do they use that
All right.
solves the problem of delivering 1 billion packages in a night? It's actually in 48 hours, actually, because they go backwards from the.
Oh, yes, International
I did
Dateline.
that
Yes,
before.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that people come up to me all times a year and
Really?
ask me questions.
Wow.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, whether I'm sitting in a restaurant or wherever I am, somebody will come up and say something and want to know, make some joke or something. So you
Yeah.
have to, and you learn a little humility too, because the most common thing is they'll say, did anybody ever tell you look like, and I've learned to wait for good reason. You look like Santa is, what you're expecting. But we were in a Panera's restaurant. My wife was with me, and this little old lady, I have a tray, and she stops right in front of me, and in a Jamaican accent, she says, "My goodness," in a very loud voice, she says, did anybody ever tell you look like, and now I'm about to respond to, and she says, "You look like Moses." I almost dropped the tray. Like, oh, that's different. I think, yeah, I guess.
All right.
And people around to stop and look at me and looking at her and like, so you have to have a little humility because people they're not going to say what you think they're going to say, but so it's fun. But you always have to have your thinking cap on when you do this type of stuff.
Yeah, you really do.
It's,
Keep you on your toes.
It keeps me young. It sure does.
Yeah.
Believe me. So what other questions do you have for me?
Well, anything you'd like to leave us with? Any final thoughts?
Well, I can tell you the stories of the Jingle Bells.
Let's hear it.
How that ever started. And I tell this to, story time and different stores. And I say, I'll do the 'Twas the Nights Before Christmas. So the night before Christmas. And I'll recite it and I'll do it from my perspective. Because I said, you do know the story is written from the perspective of the dad, but I'm going to say it from so I go into it. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even that lousy mouse, Ralph, that I'll throw in.
Yeah.
And I'll get through the whole story. And then I'll say to the kids, so let me tell you about what happened one night when things didn't go as planned. I said, you don't all know when I go down a chimney, I say, you do this hand, and you tweak your nose this way and you go down, and you go this hand and you tweak your nose that way and you go up. That's for going down the chimney and up the chimney, as in the story, right? They go, yeah. I said, well, one time I got down, I tweaked my nose, I went down the chimney a couple 100 years ago, got in the house, put the stockings in, got them filled, and they had a train set. One of the kids got a train set. Well, I'm a big kid at heart, I love trains. So I had to unpack the train. I built the whole thing and I set it up and I'm running it around the track. And there's always a cat in the house. The cat and I are having fun. He's trying to bat the train off the tracks and we're having all kinds of fun. And all of a sudden I hear from behind me down the chimney, Santa, it's Rudolph. Where the heck are you? We're running really late. Oh no, I'm in trouble. So I was all flustered. So I packed up the train set, rewrapped the toy, put a bow on it, put a bow on the cat, and I started to go back and I got to the fireplace and I was so flustered and in a hurry. I instead of, I wanted to go up. So which hand am I supposed to use to go up? And the kids are going, this hand, And I said, well, no, I use this hand. What do you think happened? Boom! I crashed a hole right into the basement, landed on my butt on the concrete, and it hurt. Oh boy. The next thing I know, through all the dust, I'm looking up at Rudolph and a couple of elves laughing their heads off at me. So we had to get the construction elves down there, and I had to get the sandman to come in and sprinkle more sand in the parents' eyes and the kids' eyes to keep them asleep. And they got to work, and they hoisted me out of there, and everything was fixed by the time dawn, and I got back to the North Pole. We had a big feast, as we always do on Christmas Day, and at the end of the feast, in the Great Hall, the elves came up to me, Chestnut and Spork, the two lead elves, and they said, Santa, we have a present for you. And what is that? Well, we don't know. We're going to call it, they're bells, but we think we're going to call them jingle bells. Oh, because they had not yet been invented. These are the original set of jingle bells, several hundred years old. And the kids were like, why? I said to the elves, why do I need these? Well, you need to wear these on your right hand at all times on Christmas, and all times, so you don't get lost. But so you remember, the hand with the bells is the one you use when you go down. When you want to go up, you use your other hand. And it has a tracking device because I would often get lost. I'd wander. I'd forget to go up the chimney sometimes. I'd walk out the front door and go to the next house because I have a key. So that prevents that too. And so forevermore, I have to wear these on and these are, and you ever hear the song Jingle Bells? They wrote that in honor of the Yellowstone.
I like it.
And the true jingle bells are 4 bells on green.
There it is.
You see other bells and they're red, or they're not the
real thing.
Jingle bells. That's the story. And that's my story. And they lived happily ever after. The end.
All right.
That's it.
Santa, we did it. Thanks for being on the show. All Across America is produced by me, Marco Vig, in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Visit us on Instagram at All Across America. Check out our website, allacrossamerica.com. There's an interactive map with all our episodes, and there's a Contact Us page where you can send your reactions, guest ideas, and suggestions. So get in touch, stay connected. To me, that's what podcasting is all about. Thanks for listening.